You are listening to the Workbench After Hours podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to the Second Amendment, where we talk about firearms, everything going on in the gun community, and we even try a different whiskey every week.
We have some great news regarding the ATF's final rule on forced reset triggers. And as we're doing this, we're going to talk about the Secret Service director and the failure of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. But we also have to talk about how the Democrats tried to change it about gun control. While we are talking about this, we are trying Traveler's Whiskey.
Welcome to episode 120 of the Workbench After Hours podcast. We got a whiskey Chris is going to tell us about, but first, just a reminder out there that if there's a message that you want to send us on the podcast and you're not on YouTube, you could go over to our website, boomstick-tactical.com, and there's a little voicemail section in there. You can leave us a voice message that way, whether it's a comment on something we're talking about or leave some feedback or whatever. All you need is your phone. You don't need anything fancy or anything like that. You can just leave it directly from your phone. So again, boomstick-tactical.com. And with that, Chris, what are we drinking this week?
We are drinking Traveler's Whiskey. So I was watching videos, and this has been an allocated bottle all of a sudden.
Okay.
And it's made by Buffalo Trace, or it's I don't know what they would call it. It's a, collaboration, they'd say. So it's with Chris Stapleton and their master distiller, Harlan Wheatley, it looks like. So, and it is 90 proof, but I think it was more interesting because it was Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, so I guess apparently there were over 50 blends that were sampled before making this number 40 blend as a combination. So there are a bunch of blends in here, but they went through different formulas and came up with blend number 40. So
yeah, I've seen it. I'm starting to see this more than Buffalo Trace. So
yeah,
that was kind of like, but everyone's like, oh, it's allocated.
The only place I've seen it is at Total Wine.
Oh, I've seen it everywhere.
Gotcha.
It's about $36, I think, so not too bad.
So just off the bat, to me, it smells like Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
It might be slightly darker in color than Buffalo Trace.
A little bit, not much.
Pretty close.
It'd almost be to get another bottle of Buffalo Trace. We could do a side by side.
Right. I have one open downstairs. I should have brought it up here. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla. You're getting that oak. Man, that does smell like the straight Buffalo Trace.
It does. It getting some caramel in there.
Take a big whiff and get the proof.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty comparable to Buffalo Trace. Slightly different.
Yeah, it's more, I'd say it's a little bit smoother.
Think so?
Yeah. It doesn't have Buffalo. No.
And this is low content. It's 45%.
Yeah.
So nothing crazy too high.
No. It tastes smoother to me than Buffalo Trace.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
According to their website, you're supposed to be getting aromas of vanilla, aged fruit, buttery shortbread, rounded off by caramel and a touch of oak. And then on a palate, which we just did, should have some sweetness, followed by spice, toasted nuts, oak flavors, and a robust finish.
I'm definitely getting the oak and your vanillas and sweetness. You get a little bit of that peppery, but it's not long lasting. It's like hits you and it's gone.
Yeah, it's nowhere near like a rye or
Yeah.
anything like that. You get a little spicy on there. Sweet. Starts off sweet, and then you get that spice. I wouldn't say it's a long finish.
No, it's, as I say, probably medium.
Yeah, medium finish.
But it's smooth.
We may have to try the Buffalo Trace downstairs later, but it's pretty darn comparable.
Yeah.
I'll really be able to tell
On the rocks.
because I've been drinking Buffalo Trace on the rocks quite a bit. So I'll let you know how that turns out. But so far, it's good.
Yeah.
Definitely
It's not
probably
bad.
a beginner one friendly too.
Yeah.
Not complex or anything, low proof. So you're not gonna get hit with that high proof. Or if you're somebody that doesn't like high proof whiskeys, if you don't like rye, this doesn't have a whole lot of that spice. This might be for you. But coming from Buffalo Trace, it tastes like what I expected it to.
Yeah, Buffalo Trace is.
Yeah.
All their stuff is usually really good.
When you said it was from Buffalo Trace and it was like a blend, I'm like, this is what I kind of expected.
Yeah.
So under $40, can't beat it. Probably mid-30s, right?
Yeah, it was about, I think, $35, $36. I think I've seen it a couple of times for like 38. So
yeah, and this is the only one that they make right now, right?
yeah, I haven't seen any other one besides this one.
So that they don't make a rye or
Not yet.
okay. So yeah, I mean, this wood it's not too expensive to where it's that big of a deal to mix or use it in a cocktail, definitely would be good. But definitely good neat. We'll try it on the rocks here pretty soon, see what that's like. And
yeah, I was kind of shocked because usually I know Jack Daniels is a collaboration with Chris Stapleton, and that bottle is super hard to find.
Yeah.
And or maybe it's not Chris Stapleton. I'm thinking someone else. Church.
Eric Church?
Eric Church,
Yeah, because they had that one bottle.
Yeah, it's like black and gold.
I saw it at King's Liquor, and when they told me what they wanted for it, I think it was like $400.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope,
thank you. I like Jack. I'm not spending $400.
So the last sip I just took of this, getting a lot more sweetness up front.
Up front's just, that's all you get up front is the sweet.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like Weller sweet, like Weller Special Reserve. Like that is nothing but sweet. It's a nice balance of sweetness, followed by that little bit of spice.
Yeah, it's not crazy though.
Yeah, it's good. So we'll see what it tastes like on the rocks here after it mellows out, and I'm probably like, it tastes like I'm drinking Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
So
maybe this will be more readily available than Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I find a bottle of Buffalo Trace about once a month.
Yeah. I've been getting pretty lucky lately. But I'm like, I've already got 4 bottles. I don't need to buy another one.
Yeah, you don't drink it like I do.
No.
So I definitely, if I'm sitting here editing a video or something and I don't want to, drink one of those expensive whiskeys, then that's my go-to because, again, it's like 30-some bucks. And, I go back to every time I tried Jack Daniel's number 7 now, I'm just like, it's like, it's a good whiskey, but now I'm like, I don't know. I'm wanting more.
I don't know.
Like that used to be my.
That's my go-to. Still, it's Jack Daniels. So,
and it's good. It's just the last one I've had. I'm like, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
Still like it, but there's other stuff I'd rather try now. Yeah. Now that we've really obviously branched out, like 100 some bottles that we've tried.
Yeah.
So
not more.
Right. But speaking of all that, we do have some good news finally in the Second Amendment 2A news kind of a thing. I wouldn't say finally. This is another good news going off of probably a few podcasts ago. We, announced that the ATF rule on the bump stocks got thrown out, got vacated so by the Supreme Court of all court systems. So Supreme Court did that. So now you can own bump stocks, which I know the left is super pissed off about.
Go
and everything. And the whole pistol brace thing, that's gone away. You know what was left? Force reset triggers. You know how they specifically
the binary triggers are going after.
The binary, specifically the FRT one from I think it was the FRT. That was like the company.
Yeah.
That named them. But there's different ones. You have the Franklin Armory binary ones, some other operating ones. But the biggest one that was part of the suit was FRT, and that was the one where they actually went to the shop. I think they arrested the guys, and then they were actually tracking the sales that people paid with credit cards.
Yeah, I think so. And they were going house to house trying to get them.
Yeah, which was completely BS.
Yep.
But the Fifth Circuit Court out of Texas, Judge O'Connor, who we've talked about before, who's kind of on our side. He knows how to read the Constitution and interpret it and tell the ATF their BS. He actually, on July 23rd to 24th, so this week, he came out with a 60-page ruling basically telling the ATF you're wrong. Because they were trying to say that it is an automatic trigger. It turns it into an automatic weapon.
It doesn't.
And he explains in his ruling that no, like you pull the trigger once, it shoots once, and nothing happens.
Yep.
Like you actually have to reset it. Even if it's from the recoil, it manually has to be reset in order to shoot another round. And that doesn't meet the definition of a fully automatic weapon.
Crazy.
And
common sense and reading and research. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think that judge up there in New York feels where the Second Amendment doesn't exist in her courtroom?
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah. She needs to be schooled by these guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a 60-page ruling you could read, and they outline exactly why the ATF was wrong and how these binary triggers, force reset triggers, they emulate it if you can do it right with the recoil, but you're still manually having to press the trigger every time, and it does not meet the definition under the NFA Act for a full auto. Wow. So, since that has been vacated, that rule basically just disappears for now, and you can own them. Now, I wonder what happens to the people that had theirs confiscated. Like, can they go back to the ATF and be like, hey, look, fuckers, you took my...
That or I'm suing you.
Right? Like, clearly you guys were in the wrong here.
That's what I would do. I'd turn around and go back to them. Where's my stuff at?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they arrested me, be like, hey,
you're paying for everything.
I'm going to sue you because now this is on my record, whether, I spent time in jail or not.
I want everything expunged. I want all my stuff back. And I want you to come out and say an apology publicly and how you were wrong.
Yeah, so it was 2021 when it came out with this to classify forced reset trigger equipped guns as machine guns. So,
2021, I felt like they were going after just anything and everything they could.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Judge O'Connor struck it down. And so now, that's a good win. Obviously, we have judges and part of the courts that can still read the Constitution and
it's crazy
interpret things. And then, unfortunately, we have other ones like that one in New York that can't or won't allow it in her courtroom. But
she had to read it at one time to become a judge.
Yeah, I don't know. But good on them.
Yeah.
That's great news. So
Texas is trying to do a lot of things.
That's something else that you can pull out of the lake now.
Yep.
That fell off your boat.
Yep.
In the bottom of the lake.
All of a sudden, you found all your guns again and all your triggers and bump stocks.
Okay, so on the rocks, it has a different taste than Buffalo Trace.
Yeah?
Yes. It had, I don't know. It definitely changed the profile a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. It's not quite as sweet up front.
Yeah.
But
it's still sweet, but I feel like the pepper's longer now.
Yeah.
Which is weird because usually when you put it on the ice, the pepper goes away.
Right. And the sweetness comes out, like more caramel, vanilla. But yeah, it definitely changed it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Still good, but...
Yeah. Different.
It's definitely not as similar to Buffalo Trace on the rocks. Still pretty close, but Buffalo Trace is a little bit sweeter and just kind of stays that way.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a while since that Buffalo.
Man, we may have to hit pause and go get it. Call my wife, hey, bring us up that Buffalo Trace.
So there, do a comparison.
Right. But still good. Definitely going to be one that we drink. So it's one that we don't have to like that James E. Pepper that we had is we're struggling to drink that the whole podcast.
Yeah.
It's we're definitely not going to get a buzz on this one.
Yep.
Whereas this is still doable.
Yeah, this one could probably get me in trouble.
Man, I almost preferred it neat. I think I like the flavor profile neat.
Yeah, I probably would agree. I feel like you get a lot more pepper on the rocks right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that because usually the pepper goes away on the rocks completely.
Yeah, and with it being a blend, I wonder a blend of what whiskeys
I don't know.
How do you select what whiskeys to blend? That's
kind
of weird.
Yeah, I wonder a little bit of Blanton's, a little bit of Buffalo Trace, a little bit of E.H. Taylor.
I don't know. That'd be kind of cool though. So this is one of those infinity bottles. Hey, I highly doubt they'll put Van Winkle in here.
Yeah, so do I. But
especially at this price point.
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet though.
Oh yeah. Well, actually right now, President Biden. This is Wednesday when we're recording. This should be addressing the nation on his whole step down from the pulling out of the presidential race. So I'm interested to see. Who knows? Right now he could be stepping out of the hole.
It's either that or he's I never said that.
There was a whole lot of people looking at his signature on the letter.
It's totally different.
Yeah, versus any of his other signatures. He has never underlined it, and just the way it was, it doesn't match.
Yeah,
and it's weird because all of a sudden he was adamant about being in, and then he got COVID and he went away, and this letter popped up.
Yeah, that and I don't know. I think a lot of things don't add up.
As do a lot of people on the internet.
Yeah, assassination attempt failed. Secret Service director resigns, and then he resigns for running for president. That's kind of suspicious to me.
A lot of people were thinking when he came out with this address tonight, and who knows, we'll see. We'll might have to check our phone, but they were saying maybe he's going to just drop out as president and her go in office right now.
That would be crazy.
There's some speculation. I doubt that, especially. he's only got a few more months left.
Less than 100 days.
Yeah, so it's I don't know if that would benefit him or not, but who knows? Yeah, we'll have to check our phones here in a bit, see what it says. But yeah, a lot of people think that this is it was planned this way because the elite. You always hear people talk about the elites the people in the background. Like, I want to know who the elites are. Like, I know it's people like outside of the White House that own all these big companies and industries and stuff like that really control these puppets in the White House. A lot of people saying out of all the people that were on the ticket for the the Democratic side, the only one that was probably moldable and controllable, obviously Harris.
Yeah.
None of the other ones, but they knew she wasn't going to get the votes in the primaries to be the main nominee for the Democratic Party. So they made it to where you can't vote.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. Like, I don't understand how that can work. That and like I don't know what I was listening to. It was
I should have paid closer attention to political science in high school.
Yeah, because I was listening to I think it was CNN or something. They were talking about how the funding for Biden's presidency can't just go to Camilla because it's already made for him. That's what it was supposed to be for him, not her. So there could be repercussions if that does happen. And it's kind of weird that all of a sudden she got all this money overnight.
I've heard it another way to where, and this could be the funds that were there, or maybe funds that are now raised. Yeah. Because she has new funds that were raised, which were apparently set a record. Even though she wasn't the main candidate, the ticket rolls down to her. She was still named on the ticket, so it just the funds just kind of roll down to her.
I don't know, because I heard that they can't do that.
I hope so,
because that's what I've heard. Like there was a whole I don't remember. I think it was someone was talking about it though, and I was just like, what? This is kind of. I was like, I never heard about this, but we've never seen this happen ever too. Right. So
maybe they found a loophole, and that's why they decided to go for it now.
Maybe, or they're just hoping and praying on dreams right now.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, she's black, she's a woman. We're in that whole...
Like, has she even announced who her VP is going to be?
No.
So
there's speculation. I think there was a list of Democrats. Surprisingly, Newsom and Clinton and Michelle Obama weren't on them, but obviously they're not out of the picture. There was, I think 7 being vetted.
Like, that's just crazy to me. Like... We're less than 100 days from election, and you don't have a VP candidate. If you knew this was coming down the pipeline, I would think right then and there you would have had someone.
We've said that they're going to try everything they can do to keep Trump out of office. I'm sure they have something up their sleeve.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and again, I'm scared if they do introduce Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be kind of put... Yeah, Kamala's the president, but they're going to see Michelle Obama behind there.
And she know that she's running the show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or the Obamas will be running the show.
Yeah, and Barack will be doing it.
He's probably been running the show the last 3 years.
I honestly have no desire to be president. Yeah, it comes with cool perks, but this, even Biden, like we said, it's hard to tell an old guy when he ages. If you go back to 2020 and you're looking at him now, he has aged significantly.
Yeah, I think,
and so did Obama, Bush,
all of them. Yeah,
I'm not that attractive, so I don't want to lose this anymore.
It's like adding the 4 years for whatever. It's more like 10, 15 years for president.
Yeah, Obama went in with no grays, came out fully gray, and wrinkles and stuff, and he did not look as healthy as he did.
Yeah,
and it's like, man, you get all these perks, but that's got to be super stressful. People either love you or hate you, and you got to deal with that. People bashing you all the time. Like that would be the hardest part is
listening to all the hate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing for us to, be on YouTube and have the trolls and stuff. Not a big deal. It's like a handful of people or whatever, and you could block them. Well, when you're the president, the whole world is blaming you for everything.
The whole world is your troll.
Yeah. So that would, oh my God, I just wouldn't want that. Like,
I don't know. I think Trump's used to it. So
right. Trump he doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. So
he's probably the one that, I don't know. I haven't seen any side by sides of him in 2020.
I don't think he really changed much.
Really? Yeah. I'd have to look.
But he's also been in business where it's high stress and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He could still talk and change his pants and stuff like that.
So maybe he's the one that has aged the least.
Yeah, out of everyone.
Out of everybody. And surprisingly, on his diet, the fast food and Diet Coke.
I know.
Dang, dude.
It's crazy. Like, if you listen, I like watching people oh, I've been drinking Jack Daniels for 107 years. That's why I never die or never got sick or anything. It's I wonder if certain people have certain things that their body just becomes used to it and they have to have it or they perish.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably the healthiest people from, some like shows I've watched and some news articles and stuff are like in Italy.
Yeah.
Because they eat super healthy. They walk a lot.
Yeah.
And, they enjoy Zac Efron. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he did this show
where he like traveled the world a little bit.
Yeah. Two seasons. And might have been the first or second season. He was talking about Italy and how everybody over there is so healthy. Obesity is not a factor over there. It's because literally they walk everywhere. Their lives aren't as stressful.
Well, that and they don't put all the preservatives we do in our food. Like everything we have has a preservative.
Everything that eats fresh. And like they drink wine, but they're in moderation, of course.
Yeah.
But they eat
They say
pasta.
wine's good for your heart.
Yeah.
So
if you can, it's really hard to have just one glass.
Yeah, it is.
Like, now I'm feeling really good.
And over there, they start drinking at like 13. So
right.
Like I think the legal age over there is 16.
Mm-hmm. And I always see these other countries banning this stuff and food and everything, and it's like, well, that sucks because I like that. But then if you look at the bigger picture, it's like, people over there are like way healthier.
Yeah, they're not crazy fat like we are.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like when I was in the military going overseas, it's like, wow. Like, man, the food. The food. Even like McDonald's, like I went to Dubai and I was like, I was craving a burger and they had a McDonald's. I was like, I'm going to get a McDonald's burger. And it tasted fresher.
Really?
The lettuce was fresh. The tomatoes were fresh.
Did it look the same?
No, it looks more like the picture, like they show you. That always looks like. They're like, man, that looks really good. Mm-hmm. But when you actually get it, it's like, oh shit, it doesn't look anything like the picture. But it looked like the picture.
Really?
Yeah, and it was fresh. The fries tasted so much better.
Why do you think
I don't know.
have those here?
I don't know. It was weird. Like everything over there was fresher. Like even like in Italy, we stopped there one, and we were like, we just wanted an appetizer, and they like, we want the meat tray. Dude, this meat tray fed like 15 of us, and they kept bringing out more.
Man.
It was like fresh salami, fresh pepperoni, and I was like, whoa, oh my God, I'm full. And then I was like, I don't want to order an actual meal because I'm afraid it's going to be like 15 plates.
Did you ever have pizza over in Italy?
Oh, yeah.
How does it compare to here?
It's fresher.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. The one I had was
is it as greasy as the pizza you get here?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I think they cook theirs more stuff with like olive oil.
Yeah.
Compared to like what we do, but the pizza was like thin. It was like a thin crust, and it was so good. There's a picture I think somewhere on Facebook. We had all of our pizzas picked up, and one guy had like an egg on his. I was like,
interesting.
I don't know if
I've learned not to knock it until you try it.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, it was really good.
The first time my sister tried to get me on cream cheese pizza, like cream cheese and pepperoni, gosh. I'm like, that sounds disgusting. But then I tried it, and I'm like, this is amazing.
I'm never going back.
Exactly.
Just like
like dipping your crust in honey.
Oh, yeah.
Or even hot honey I like to do now.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm like, that doesn't go.
I like going to like Olive Garden, getting the breadsticks with the salad, and then dipping the breadsticks in like the salad dressing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I know Michelle Obama's whole thing when they were in office was healthier stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened with that. Maybe they got, some vending machines out of schools and stuff, but
yeah, but I don't know. I think some of those vending machines were probably good. I mean, I know in high school I was always hungry, and I'd always be going to the vending machine or lunch, getting like 3 or 4 slices of pizza, a sub, chips.
Yeah. I'd get pizza when I could afford it. Couldn't always afford it because the pizza was more expensive. But honestly, I would end up just getting like, a lot of times it was chicken fingers and fries.
What I did is I made my lunch and I'd go to school and sell it, and then go buy the pizza and the subs.
Nice. Yeah, because ours fluctuated between Domino's and Papa John's.
Yeah, we always had Papa John's and then Planet Sub.
Nice. We never had. The only thing they catered out was the pizza.
Yeah.
And I remember it was good, but it was expensive. And just having one, you're growing.
Yeah, I think
it wasn't enough food.
I think a slice was like $2.50. A like 6-inch sub was $5. And that was always what I got.
I know. Now it's like $2.50. Shit, I would have eaten that every day. Back then
when you're coming out of your pocket. Ooh.
Yeah. Back then when I was making $6.11 an hour.
Stretching every dime you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, it's we definitely need to do something with what's in our food, but
it's
people
hard.
don't want to change. They like what they like, and Of course, I could go downstairs in our kitchen. Yeah, we have a bunch of snacks like potato chips, cheese, and stuff like that. Terrible for you, but we still eat it.
Yeah, it's so good.
I know, and that's probably the problem.
If I go to the store and I see Cheez-Its, I automatically just get a box, and it usually doesn't last.
Well, and most of us here, I saw a thing like, what's the fittest city in the U.S.? Boston was one of them because you do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Here,
there's not a lot of walking.
We're so spread out. There's no.
That's the one thing over there too. Like everything's close. Everything was in walking distance to everywhere. Like you were walking every day. And then Spain, they got the siesta in the middle of the day too, which was pretty awesome.
Right. Yes. We could take some, tips from some other countries.
Oh, I believe
shorter work weeks. I don't like tea, but having tea breaks, that sounds so
Instead
stupid.
Of a smoke break, have a tea break.
Like, hey, I would like to have that, like a mandatory tea break or something, or coffee, whatever. Hell yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things over there that's like just a little bit different, but it made sense.
Maybe we need we're a free country. We do whatever we want, but honestly, we're not free because we're working for the man like all 40 hours a week stressed out.
Yeah.
And then we, sit on the couch and we
veg or pass out when we get home because we're tired.
Or just stress eat or eat because we're bored.
Yeah. I've been trying at like lunch, like just I usually now go to like Walmart Monday, buy bread, meat or cheese or whatnot, build my own sandwich, chips, and it's like $20 for the week. And then after I'm done, I go and try to walk around the ponds and stuff by my work.
I like putting chips on my sandwich.
Oh yeah, chip sandwiches. Oh man,
yes, terrible for you, but still good.
Yeah, but I've been on this whole kick lately. I've been buying those like baked Lay's and like the white cheddar Cheetos.
They're good for you.
Yeah,
yeah. Quotes there, but how did we get on that whole topic anyway?
Michelle Obama, I think, food and health kick.
So last week we talked about, what we knew at the time of the attempted Trump assassination and all of that stuff. And we were basically predicting what was inevitable on, that they were going to flip this script onto gun control.
Yep.
And how AR-15s are bad. They were basically going to blame it on AR-15s. And that's exactly what happened. Obviously, we took a couple clips from The View where they were immediately talking about that. And Joy Bear was like, oh, he bought 50 rounds of ammo. That's a red flag right there. Which, honestly, thinking about that, it's like, because he had an AR now that we know. Usually they come in 20-round boxes.
Yep, 20 rounds.
So how did he get 50?
Hey, can you split this in half for me?
Do they come in 50-round boxes that I'm not aware of?
The big, like, I've seen 20 rounds and like the 150.
Right.
I've never seen just 50, though.
Neither have I. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
How do you buy 50 rounds of 5.56 or 2.23? I want to know.
Yeah. Maybe this is an open box. I don't know.
No, because they come in 20.
Yeah, they do.
Or you get like a pack of 100 or whatever. But I've never seen a pack of 50.
Neither have I.
Which they need to come in 30 because that's the standard capacity magazines.
Yeah, they should.
In us free states.
Yeah.
In California.
Yeah.
You probably need less than that.
Probably just need a 10-pack.
Yeah. Hell, if you're in California, 20 rounds will get you all day.
Yeah.
It's going to take you all day to freaking shoot that thing with your featureless ARs anyway.
Yeah.
But, I thought that was awkward. I'm like, well, now that we know it was an AR-15, the fact that he bought 50 rounds of ammo, that's kind of an odd number.
Yeah, it is.
Like 60 would be the next number, or 40.
Yep. Not 50.
And he only popped off 8, supposedly.
Yeah.
And now they're thinking that he had a folding stock. Or in the article I read, they said something about collapsible. So it's like, well, all AR-15s in free states are collapsible.
Yeah.
But then there are the folding stocks, but that's still not going to allow you to really sneak a gun in anywhere.
No.
But
anything it's going to make it print more.
Exactly. But there's new stuff coming out about that, and
there's a bunch.
Obviously, somebody's probably going to try and sue the manufacturer of the rifle he had. I think it was DPMS, is what I heard last.
Not sure. I just know they've been also bringing up like how he was going through transitioning and all that.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Oh yeah.
Oh. The only things I've heard additional that we didn't know is that they knew he was flying a drone before, and that he visited the site
with a rangefinder.
Well, yeah, that day, but he had been there before, like days before, weeks before. But then that day, he was flying a drone around the property, and then obviously he showed up with a rangefinder and stuff like that. But I didn't hear that he was in that.
Oh,
I haven't heard a whole lot about his background.
Yeah, there's been like I think Joe Rogan even talked about it. There's like pictures of him like trying to transition and be a girl, and
the only pictures I've seen of him are obviously the one that they've posted, the main one, and that obviously looks outdated, and then the one from people's phones of him at the thing with what appears to be longer hair.
And then that commercial he was in that they're trying to take down.
Right. The Blackstone.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's in how they're involved too.
Yeah.
But, we were like, okay. I was hoping he didn't use an AR, but he did.
I think that's all of our, like, the first thing we ever hear now when there's a shooting of something, like, please just don't be an AR.
Right.
Like, please don't. But
yeah. So after The View went on that whole rant, and I obviously hate The View. Of course, then you got Stephen Colbert and all these other people. And, I was really looking forward to kind of watching and listening to the House committee go over, like, drill that Secret Service agent or director at the time.
Yeah.
Kimberly.
She resigned.
Whatever. Yeah, she's since resigned. No big surprise there. But what they turned their focus on during that whole thing, they were going over the failure of the ATF and the security, or not the ATF, but the Secret Service and the security. But it looks like, I think a majority of the House committee that was doing it were all Democrats.
Yeah.
Because they tried to flip it on guns.
Control.
And we knew that they were going to do this, but not in this. I didn't know they were going to do this in this House committee. I knew they were going to do it politically and stuff like this. But I'm going to play a couple clips. I'm going to play the first one here. But a lot of time was spent on them on stuff that has nothing to do with the failure of the Secret Service, but they were trying to get the point across with gun control and trying to make this, this is the reason.
Yeah.
So here's the first clip right here that we'll listen to.
Let's talk about it, because I've seen statistics that show that we could be saving lives now if we ban these weapons of war from being able to buy it at the local store down the street. I mean, we just can't continue to allow this to happen.
An honest disagreement we have about the Second Amendment. There are some people who think the Second Amendment means you've got the right to arm yourself with whatever weaponry you need to overthrow the government of the United States, and we reject that as a false interpretation of the Second Amendment and a false interpretation of the Constitution. We can ban assault weapons. We did it back in 1994. It dramatically reduced these mass shootings, and when that ban was lifted, the mass shootings went up through the roof again, and we've shown it. And so just like we're demanding real answers and real action from the Secret Service, let us demand real action and real answers from ourselves about the nightmare of mass gun violence, which puts America into a category all its own when you compare us to the countries in the European Union or Canada or other similarly situated countries. There's nothing like what we're going through. So we've got to act on the Secret Service to protect ourselves against political violence, and we've got to act as a Congress to protect ourselves against AR-15 violence in America.
There you go. Turning it on. It's the gun. It's the guns.
Weapons of war. I wish
I had one.
Yeah. Because I guarantee
It'd be a lot
it'd be
funner.
a true assault rifle at that point.
Right. But, and I'll play one here in a little bit, but it's the same thing. They turned this whole thing on. It's the gun. And honestly, it's like,
The Second Amendment's there is for a tyrannical government to overthrow them.
which this is.
Yeah.
You're being that way, and you're turning it into politics and all this stuff when the focus was, there was a failure. Who cares?
Secret Service failed.
You know what you need to do?
The government failed.
Right.
Not the people. The government failed. Because they knew he was an issue, that he's been spotted, he's acting weird. They didn't do anything about it. They didn't act. The government failed, which allowed for the attempt and actually killing an innocent bystander.
And red flag laws would not have helped because there were no red flags.
Yep.
Nothing with the red flag thing would have stopped this anyway.
Nope.
And
Well, would have stopped it if they actually did their job.
yes, like, oh, hey, there's a kid with a rangefinder.
You got a drone flying around everywhere, and now he's up on a roof. What's going on?
Weird. I don't know.
And the
I wanna
FBI is
go
right
inside the
underneath me. You would think if the FBI is underneath a freaking tin building, you hear stuff like clunk.
Oh, you would hear that.
You would hear that on the roof. Wouldn't you be like, what the fuck is going on above me?
Right.
Especially, they're communicating. They got comms.
Yeah, they knew he was there.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's that. But the fact that they're turning it on the guns. And it's like, if this kid wanted to do violence and we didn't have AR-15s, he would have found something else. He would have
been a pipe bomb. It could have been anything.
Found a bolt action rifle. He was Googling, JFK assassination and how far away the guy was. So clearly you can do that with, an AR-15, but you can also do that with any other freaking rifle.
Yep.
So what we need to do is, instead of banning the guns, how about we fix the violence problem in America? That's the main issue. You fix the violent problem.
Well, if you fix that, then we can't keep you divided.
Right?
That's the problem.
We can't blame the guns anymore, because if you fix the violence, then the whole gun issue goes away.
Yeah.
But because they don't focus on the violence, they make, violence even more accessible and less punishable by law.
Yep.
It's going to keep happening. And like we said in the last podcast, how everybody was, saying all the stuff about Trump, all the bad stuff, how he needs to be taken out. Well, kids like this just see that constantly, and they're going to...
Your own party said we need to take them out.
Yeah. So
your own party. It's your fault.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump ever once said, hey, we need to take the Democrats out. We need to take them out. We need to...
He also had explosives in his vehicle.
Yeah.
That
could have been a lot worse.
He could have used literally anything other than an AR-15. It was just a tool that he happened to use. But the main point here is it's violence. People are bad.
Yep.
They're going to do what they want. Fix that problem first, and then the gun violence goes away.
The problem is they want to keep you divided. They're the ones promoting all the violence.
Gun violence, or banning the guns, is only going to hurt us good people. It's gonna, because you ban AR-15s, guess who's still going to have access to them? Obviously, the people protecting these politicians are still going to have access to those and use them. But you think the criminals are going to give up their AR-15s? No. You think the cartel is going to give up their AR-15s?
And you know what? I bet a lot of Americans won't actually give it up.
Hell no.
Because they know. And this whole assault rifles ban thing, like, they don't even know the definition of an assault rifle.
No.
Because it's clear, because everything they went after with the ATF and what they went after, and it all got overthrown because it's not an assault rifle. So it doesn't make it full auto.
So in this next clip, you're going to hear that two or three different people are trying to get the Secret Service director to admit it is a gun problem. They repetitively ask her in multiple ways, and they get pissed off because she doesn't answer it initially. It's kind of laughable, but they want her to admit that AR-15s make their job hard, that the fact that us citizens have guns make their job hard. They wanted her to admit that so then they could run with that.
Yeah.
And she was hesitant, but they grill her. And watch this. It's like, come on. But if you were to ever ask a Democrat the opposite and why, they wouldn't answer a straight question. Hell, the presidential debate, neither one of them answered it with a straight question. Mm-hmm. But yeah, here we go.
Director Cheadle, the ubiquity of weapons, guns in America, especially assault weapons or semi-automatic weapons, that's helped your job and the mission of your agencies, right? It's made it less complicated. Isn't that true?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question.
Real simple. More guns, especially dangerous ones, have made your job protecting people easier. Is that not right? This is a simple one. Does the ubiquity of guns make your job easier or more difficult today? Please answer the question. You're the head of the Secret Service. And I'm asking you, did the availability of that AR-15, which is replicated all across America, make your job harder or easier?
Yes or no? Do you believe that stricter controls on the availability of assault weapons would make it easier for the Secret Service to fulfill its missions of protecting public officials? Certainly, but do assault weapons make it easier or harder for you to do your job?
I think that any weapon makes it difficult for us to do our job.
I want to follow up on Representative Connolly's question, in which he asked about guns, and you were not willing to commit that that makes your job harder. This is not about the Second Amendment. If there were over 400 million guns on the streets, if all of those guns were machine guns, would that make your job harder to protect people?
Again, I think weapons that are out there.
If all of
make our
those
job-
guns were rocket-propelled grenades, would that make your job harder?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Perfect. This is not a trick question. Thank you. Okay. It creates a challenging environment. It has nothing to do with the Second Amendment or people's rights, but it does make your job harder. So credit to Representative Connolly for asking that question.
It has everything to do with the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
And
rocket propelled grenades. If you got rocket propelled grenades, it's gonna make a lot of problems. Like
they're trying to get her to admit that the fact that civilians have AR-15s and even just any guns
is
makes their job.
Yeah.
No. Yes, in some aspect it does, because the bad people with guns, they have to obviously combat.
The problem is they know who's bad, who's not.
Yes, the Secret Service
they've got lists
people on their radar, like these Iranian terrorist groups that apparently are supposedly questioned on being behind this. But
well, supposedly they found like he was talking to 6 other countries or type of groups overseas, and they're like, that didn't raise a red flag.
They say guns wanted her to admit that guns, us civilians having, of course, they said assault weapons of war. We don't have those, but apparently they think we do.
They don't know the difference.
But anyway, they were trying to get her to admit that yes, civilians having this make it harder for us to protect, say, the president of the United States. And she was hesitant to do it because she knows that's not the case.
Truth.
Anything. The fact that people can make bombs, cyber attacks make their job difficult.
You can literally go to Home Depot right now and build your own boomstick.
Yes. You can.
I've watched several videos.
And apparently so did this, whatever his name was.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
You can make a weapon out of anything.
Yeah. Just because you want to focus on guns, her job is hard.
Like, they're lucky, like, if this was, like, back in the 1700s and the way they're acting and behaving, we would be in another war. And they'd be overthrown real quick.
I don't recognize anybody that was in that House committee, so I don't think any of them were. I think they were. Obviously, it appears they were all Democrats.
Yeah,
doing that, and it probably because Biden's a Democrat. I don't know how that works.
That's probably because they're trying to cover their ass right now.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so yeah, we know so we're gonna swap. They found this as like the perfect opportunity. Oh, hey, you use an AR-15. Guess what? The whole world saw it. The president tried to be assassinated by a 20-year-old with an AR-15.
But what did the Secret Service add?
They
were all with an AR style platform.
Yeah, but they're there to protect us and the people.
They're not
and
there to protect you. They'll take your guns and turn around and murder you.
Right.
It's been proven. History will repeat itself. People need to wake up, start reading, and then look at. Don't believe everything you read on the media. I was actually watching something.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything? Nothing's true? Not everything's true?
Because the crazy thing is, I was listening to something, and they're like, back in 2019, they asked, how many unarmed black people do you think get shot and killed every year?
Yeah.
You know what the answer was? The majority of people? Over 1,000. You know what the actual answer is? 12. That's a big difference.
Yep.
But they wanted to make it, unarmed black people are being killed all the time. No, there's 12 people out of the whole year.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount. It goes from 1,000 to 12. That's a big jump.
Not being racist here, but there's a lot of gang violence, and a lot of them happen to be black.
And a lot of the thing is, they'll skew the numbers to get what they want.
Yeah, of course.
We've proven that several times on here.
Of course.
By changing the ages to make it,
all of our kids are dying. Number one death of our kids are guns. Well, you were going from 0 to 19.
Yeah. Kids.
19 is not a kid.
No, 17. 18 and above, you're an adult. You can be trialed as an adult. You can go to war as an adult.
In today's society, even 16, 17, I don't know. The way people are growing up fast, supposedly. I don't know. I would almost say like...
I don't know. Camilla thinks that they're the dumbest people ever. From the 16 to 24-year-old, they're the dumbest people on the earth. We have to put them in dormitories.
Yeah.
And keep them at bay at school.
Yeah, she there's a lot of stuff when she was prosecutor that is horrible. And yeah, it's going to come out. It's already out there, but it's going to keep.
It's going to get worse and worse and worse, and it's going to make her look worse.
She was trying to keep people in prison that were in there just for cheap labor of the state, and then she was trying to charge parents. You know, there's people that have struggled taking their kids to school, whether it be they can't afford it, whatever. She was trying to actually punish those parents with like jail time and stuff because they couldn't get their kids to school. It's like
at that point,
you know, if they were purposely doing that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of factors you got to think about. And she was just like, no, if like you can't take your kid to school or whether you can afford it or not, I don't care. I'm going to freaking come after you. No, she is a horrible person.
Yeah. And she came from California. What do you expect?
Exactly.
California's a fucking
She laughed
shit show.
about it. I watched before you came over and I was just watching some videos. She laughed when she said about the, you know, I'm going to go after these parents that can't get their kids to school, and then you know this is going to be very controversial in San Francisco at the time where she was at, and she laughed.
Yeah,
it's like wow. And then she was keeping people in prison. Just
people need to wake up. The government is supposed to work for you. You don't work for them.
Right.
We need to get that straight.
Yeah, no, that's not what the government thinks.
The Constitution is to protect us from said government because they will do things that are unconstitutional.
Our government is controlled by this elite.
Yep.
And the high.
And like they keep saying we're a democracy. We are not a democracy.
Where do you think all these... Now, obviously, she got a huge donation. Where's all this money coming from? High-profile families, high-profile businesses.
Where they want their agenda
They're
to be
the
pushed.
people that are actually running our government.
Yep. And it's proven. Look at all the money. You can't even run for an election unless you're backed by
This is why
millions.
we need to take freaking money out of it. Anybody should be able to run for president.
That's the way it's written. We're supposed to be able, anybody could run for
But
president.
no, you can't unless you have millions of dollars and then are able to raise multi-million of dollars. You can't.
See, that's the thing. Like right now, like with social media the way it is, we should be using that to choose our candidates. You're telling me out of the millions of people in America, these are the best two candidates, the smartest, the best? No, there's someone smarter out there.
Right.
But
they don't have the money.
They don't have the money. But we need to start looking outside just money. And like, we got social media. Use it. Why aren't they using it? I'd be using that platform since it's free.
Exactly.
Like Facebook, be simple. Just
Like
start putting messages out. Boom, boom.
You need $100 million to campaign to be president?
Yeah.
Come on. People hate the fucking commercials anyway.
Yeah.
Just do the debates.
Do the debates and just show up and do Facebook. Make your post. Do all your stuff on Facebook. Just boom, boom, boom. Because if you did that, guess what? You could probably win the election.
It's, the way our government runs is ridiculous. With you have to have the money.
That, and I think they're overpaid for majority of their jobs that they do, making decisions for us. I think if you want to really clean up the government, make them make the average salary of Americans. Guarantee things will change for a better.
Yeah.
Because now money's out of it. You're not there for money.
Oh, and if they're so scared of AR-15s and guns, take them away from their personal security.
Yeah, take them away.
Oh, well.
Secret Service no longer has it.
Guess
Law
what?
enforcement
You want to take them away
no longer has it.
from us so we can't protect ourselves. We're going to take them away from your security. Because
take it away from everything. If you're going to ban it from everyone. Law enforcement, everything.
Yep. But nope, they're going to be allowed to have it because they need to be protected.
They need to be protected, and they also want to use their influence and their power on you.
Yeah.
That's what a democracy is the governing body having control over people. A republic is where the people are in control. People need to go back and start relearning this. Because in the 1940s and 50s, they started switching it to democracy. We're a democracy. We're a democracy. Trying to brainwash your mind that, hey, we're a democracy. We're not a republic. But we are a republic. It says in all your freaking bills that you print, it says we are a republic. You say it in your freaking Pledge of Allegiance if you still do it, or when you did do it, it's to the republic for which it stands. So people need to quit getting out of this brainwash and realize we are a republic. We are not a democracy. Mm-hmm. So that's my little rant.
No, and it's funny because she's been coming out, obviously, now that she's got to do this whole campaign thing. But her speeches are, I don't know whose speeches are worse, hers or Biden's, because
I don't know, because her little lesson I was watching one that had like, I'm going to give you a little history lesson, okay? Females just had brackets for college basketball in 2019. Really? For March Madness? I remember seeing it back in like 2004 and 3, filling out women's basketball brackets too.
Right. I'm going to try. And so she's obviously been coming out with her campaigns, and she said this.
We who believe that every person in our nation who should have the freedom to live safe from the terror of gun violence will finally pass red flag laws, universal background checks, and an assault weapons ban.
Take away the guns, we'll be invaded by every other country faster than you know.
She's on Biden's same page where she wants all this stuff. And of course, now with this Trump shooting, they're going to use that as fuel to freaking. Oh, that was an AR-15. A 20-year-old kid was able to borrow his dad's gun and go basically almost take out the freaking prior president.
When it was a failure on Secret Service, the government.
Your red flag laws would not have stopped that. Nope.
The thing is, like, when you start holding people accountable.
This is going to be her campaign, though.
Oh, I know.
Her campaign, and the Democrats are going to use that whole thing with the guns and scare people into be like, oh, well, shit, we're not safe with 20-year-olds being able to almost take out a president. They're going to completely forget and make you forget about the failure of the government protecting the prior president.
Yep.
They're going to flip it and be like, no, it's the Republicans' fault. And they're saying this. They're saying it's the Republicans' fault because we want to have guns and we're allowing this. So it's the Republicans' fault. It's the fault of the AR-15s.
Pretty sure it was Biden's fault. all down to it, to the branch.
I honestly swear to God, I will go to the grave. It was a Clinton.
I agree with that, but you got to think, though, Secret Service is controlled by who?
The executive branch.
Executive branch. So Biden is technically in control of what happened. It is his fault for what happened on that day.
Yep.
Because it's kind of weird, too. Like, he just randomly leaves his little speech he's going, and then 20, 30 minutes down the road, an assassination attempt.
Yeah. Yeah, there's... You know, I've watched videos on, like, the training and the stuff the Secret Service goes.
That should never have happened.
No.
Every sniper that's come out and said that should never even happen.
No. And like we said in the last podcast, we have no experience in military or security. We even know that building right there is a huge target.
Yep.
And I was watching videos that came out recently of people that were behind the fence and kind of around there, and ones that were saying, hey, there's a gun on the roof.
Yeah.
They were able to literally walk up and see the stage without going through any sort of security. They're like, we just walked up here and there's no security. And one of the guys like, yeah, I'm ex-military, and I thought this was weird that I can see the stage and didn't go through any security.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was.
You think about concerts we go to.
Right.
Freaking Worlds of Fun, a theme park. The security measures you go through.
Way worse.
Yeah. Like, there was a failure, and it was on the government. They wanted this to happen.
Oh, yeah. Calculated.
Yeah.
This whole everything. Between that and this whole now Biden dropping out, Harris coming in, it's all calculated.
It is.
But they won't admit it, and unfortunately, a lot of people
and they want to take your rights away because it scares them that we have power still because of our Constitution.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, mainstream media is only going to report what the elites want them to report.
Yeah,
and they're not
Trump
going to get
falls on stage.
God, yeah, he fell on stage.
Fell on stage because he got shot at.
Yeah, anybody, if you saw that initial footage, and you want to be a reporter, clearly that wasn't just him falling.
Yeah. There's bullets flying.
Yeah, and then you see blood. No, he didn't just fall.
Yeah.
But that's what they initially reported. And we got called out by media overseas like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where...
It's crazy. Like, you need to get over your fucking political agendas and report real. Fuck who you're fucking being controlled by. Report what the facts. That's what your job's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And since you've lost track of that, you're lucky you still have freedom of speech, because after they take our guns, guess what's going to be next? Your freedom of speech. They're already trying to take it away from you on certain social platforms.
Well, ours anyway, because
we support the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah. Google keeps and thinking about how we talked about last week, how they've changed their guidelines and with the sponsorships, the whole thing with Hickok 45. I honestly think that's a direct result of them being sued, because they were sued. Meta was sued. Some other social media outlets were sued because of them allowing this type of content on their platforms. I think that's why they changed it.
Because they need to start suing everyone for putting out false information is what they need to start doing.
But the more these Democrats, the more these Democrats push this AR-15s are the problem. I see in the near future Google and YouTube not allowing any gun content. That's coming.
Yep, probably.
Like, it's already restricted to where we can't show you how to modify a gun. Certain guns we can't even shoot.
Can't even show basic gunsmithing.
No, you can't. You can't educate people on how to do something just because it's something that other people think is scary.
Before too long, they're going to ban knife sharpening, how to sharpen knives.
Yeah.
Look at London. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
They banned guns. Now they're going after freaking knives.
They're scared to say the word knives. People can't believe you could buy a knife online.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know how many freaking knives are probably in everyone's home?
Mm-hmm. But
I mean, that's a weapon. There's more knife stabbings than there are gun killings.
Again, it's a violence problem. It's a people problem.
Yep.
It's fix the violence.
The problem is then they can't keep us divided like they are. That means we have to come together and be one. And they're scared of that because they know what can happen.
Yeah.
There's a reason why everyone is terrified of the U.S.
And what's going to happen is they're going to take away our ability to communicate this to people.
Yep.
And then all you have out there is just the left side.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden shit hits the fan and oh boy.
I don't know. I just think we're slowly going to be...
I feel like we're on the verge of being we are a sleeping giant.
I don't ever see that happening. People are too
I don't know. I don't think
like their Starbucks.
I don't think it's about us. I think other nations.
Yeah. But
I mean, you got Russia and China right now. Those are our biggest threats.
Give it I'd say give it a couple of years, and then honestly, Google is gonna no gun content.
Yeah.
I see it.
It'll be crazy.
They've already taken away so much. And then now with this whole thing and them being sued, it's just going to snowball, and the Democrats are going to use this as fuel.
Just think. We'd probably
and then something else is going to happen. And then again, they're going to be like,
if we didn't commit treason, we wouldn't have guns right now or knives.
Right.
Just think about that. Pearl Harbor, we wouldn't even won a war.
Because we went against our government overseas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Think about that. It's all because of the government.
And they wrote a constitution.
Yeah.
To keep that from happening.
And it wasn't by a bunch of old white men. Like
Right.
they think the oldest white man that helped write the Constitution was 25, and that was George Washington.
Well, now our government is telling us you don't need to be able to stop a tyrannical government. Weird.
Why don't you need to stop? I think we do. That's why our Constitution was written.
They wrote this.
And why is it that they're allowing a lot of other people to come in our country that we don't have any documentation, but yet they can get guns?
Oh, and that's another thing. Oh, they want the next president to be the one that totally fucked over the border thing. She was responsible for the freaking border.
Yeah.
How well did that go? Yep.
Look at all the terrorists that they probably brought in. And they're giving them guns. They're allowed to get guns over actual citizens of the U.S.
Yep. That's awesome.
Like, we're not doing universal backgrounds for everyone that comes into the fucking states illegally.
I think we should go to Mexico without our passports and come in, and then we'll get money.
Well, I thought about that.
I could use some money.
That's what I thought about. And they'll probably hand us a gun.
Right?
Like,
and then
here.
a ticket to anywhere where I was planning on going to vacation and, wherever. I'll take your free ticket there plus some of the money. Let's do it.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea.
Right.
That's what I think a lot of Americans are retiring down there just for that reason.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that are retiring down to Mexico.
Mm-hmm. But there are, on the flip side, there is a lot of cartel violence down there. Like I don't know.
But really, I know they don't have. You're not allowed to have a gun down there. But how does the cartel got it? That doesn't make sense,
right? And that's the problem. You take away the good guys
really,
with guns.
Really, all you need is a handful of bad motherfuckers, and you can probably go take out the cartel.
I don't know. I think those cartels are ruthless, man.
I don't know. You get
there's a lot of numbers.
If you can get some bad motherfuckers in there, you can take them over.
Yeah, but you need numbers because they got. Thing is, they got a lot of numbers.
You're just gonna be strategic about how you do things.
Yeah, and they know the layout of the land, and they got all those hiding spots. I don't know. That would be hard. But
yeah,
why don't we take out? Like, why?
Why are we allowing it?
Yeah.
Did you hear? I saw someone.
Why is this allowed?
About Brazil. Did you hear about the sharks they found?
Oh yeah, with cocaine.
Yeah, with cocaine in their system.
So now there's gonna be a movie.
Yeah, cocaine sharks. I was like, what the
high
fuck?
levels of cocaine and sharks. Wow,
that's crazy. That's scary. I hate.
It sucks. It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, I've always
cartels.
Like we know the cartel's bad, and people are fleeing here. Why don't we just go down there, take them out?
The whole fact that
then take it over.
We have to arrest them. It has to be. We have to prove that they're doing this stuff.
You don't have to prove shit.
That
you know they're the cartel.
Out. And then they go to prison, and then prison is controlled by the cartels. It's like, you know what? Let's just
take it all out.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want a war on cartel? Well, guess what? Well, shit. I hope nobody from cartel listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there's a. I don't know. There's a reason that they're still allowed to do this.
Because it's kind of weird. Like, I was watching a video the other day. Someone going into Mexico. Cartel tried robbing him, and he just flipped a bitch as fast as he could to get back in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I have no desire to go to Mexico.
I've
been there, and cool. But with as bad as it is,
I'd rather go overseas.
Especially being an American. Like,
I'd rather go overseas and just live.
Like
Italy, Germany, Autobahn. German cars.
You would. I don't know.
Get that crazy accent.
Right. I don't like the German accent. I like the Australian accent.
Australian, yeah.
Yep. Love it.
Or English.
I'm not a huge fan of the British accent, except for Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt can have whatever accent. I'm like, yeah. But a blonde girl with the Australian accent, yes.
Crazy.
But they're not allowed to have guns down there, so I don't want to go there.
Or knives, so they can't cook for us, so we'd be screwed.
Exactly.
Fuck.
But yeah, it's only going to get worse from here. Just you watch.
Yep.
We knew this was going to happen. They were going to turn it from,
it was a failure of government on our executive branch to now it's an AR problem. We have a gun problem.
It's the problem that civilians have accessible, can go into a store and buy an AR-15. No.
Without any background check.
It's the fact that you guys allow violence and
promote violence at that.
Yeah. Especially California, you can do crime, you could steal stuff, and as long as it's under $950,
it's not a felony. They need to just go back. $500 is a fucking felony.
They just need to keep this stuff from happening. And then everywhere there's these flash mobs, and people just let this happen.
Yep.
Guess what? If you were a store owner and you're allowed to shoot back at these people,
they wouldn't.
Guess what's not going to happen?
Yeah.
That flash mob.
It's kind of crazy, huh?
But
common
there's some
sense
states
is not
that
common.
are like, oh, well, you can't kill somebody over stolen property. Well, there's an easy way to fix that.
Yeah.
You want to fix violence?
Fine. Give me their hand and I'll take their hand off.
Yeah.
They want a 5-finger discount. They just got it.
The government is like trying to blame guns, and we're saying, you got to fix the violence problem. Guess what? Fixing the violence problem is letting us law-abiding citizens
take things in our own hands.
Exactly. We'll fix this violent problem real quick, and then guns won't be a problem. People will be like, nope.
Yep. I don't want anything part of this. I want to stay away from this.
Exactly. There's an easy way to fix this.
I mean,
but it ain't gonna happen.
We'll just have to overthrow the tyrannical government.
But we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah.
Harris might be president next week. You never know.
Jesus. God, please help us.
And then Hillary Clinton might be vice president. You never know.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in 7 days.
I hope you all find Jesus real quick.
Yeah. So, again, if you have anything to comment, obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, comment in the comment section below or go to boomstick-tactical.com to leave us a voice message or check out our inventory, even though I'm not supposed to sell anything. We do have a little bit of inventory, or if you're in Kansas City area, we do offer $20 transfers.
Yeah.
There's that, too. So, I'm interested to see what Biden had to say on his speech and what the hell we're going to hear next. So, we'll talk about whatever craziness happens next week.
Yeah.
And with that,
remember, this is a YouTube podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle that bell. If you're listening on any of those other platforms, hit that follow button. And with that, everybody, have a good one.